Now it's time to verify an identity. So when you're looking at an identity, you should look at both sides and see which side looks more complicated. To me, this one is just slightly more complicated because of the subtraction. So I'm going to start with the left side. Cosecant of theta minus sine of theta. And then use a trig identity for cosecant, which is actually 1 divided by sine. And here's the reason that the left side was more complicated, because when you subtract two fractions, you need a common denominator. So this one, you could call it sine over 1, and then multiply the top and the bottom by sine of theta. Now that they have a common denominator, you could write it as 1 fraction with sine theta as the denominator. And then the top would have 1 minus sine squared. And as soon as I see 1 minus sine squared, I say that's equal to cosine squared. If you're not convinced, then take the trig identity, sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1, which we proved in one of the previous podcast problems. And then just subtract sine squared from both sides. And then it leaves that cosine squared is equal to 1 minus sine squared. So you can replace 1 minus sine squared with cosine squared. Okay, now we've created one fraction, but we're supposed to have cosine times cotangent. So sometimes it's a good idea, again over here with the scratch paper, you look at this and see, well, what does this equal? Where is it that I'm supposed to be going? So cosine times and cotangent. So that is cosine over sine. And if you compare where we're supposed to be going with where we are, we're almost there. So what I could do is take the cosine squared that I have and rewrite it as cosine times cosine. And then just recopy the bottom. And then if you look at these two right here, cosine divided by sine, that's cotangent. And this extra cosine in the front just stays there. And then it's done.